Welcome to The Right Size Life, a podcast about making space for what matters most. I'm your host, Amy Schmidt, founder of Fearlessly Facing 50, and each week we explore what it means to right-size our homes, our health, our relationships, and our lives, not from a place of loss, but from a place of possibility, because sometimes the next chapter begins with letting go. And today's conversation is deeply emotional, incredibly timely, and one I think so many families will connect with. My guest is Anthony Lucero, director, writer, and producer of the film The Paper Bag Plan, a powerful story that explores aging, caregiving, dignity, family responsibility, and what happens when life no longer unfolds the way we expected. And honestly, isn't that what so many people are quietly navigating right now? Whether we're caring for aging parents, supporting loved ones through illness, or facing our own questions around identity and purpose later in life, there's something profoundly human about learning how to hold space for one another in difficult seasons. This conversation is about caregiving, compassion, emotional resilience, family dynamics, and what truly matters when life gets stripped down to its essentials. Because maybe the right-sized life isn't about having everything perfectly together. Maybe it's about learning how to stay present for what matters most. Well, this is an exciting show today. Exciting for the fact that, I think that this conversation is important. As I said in the introduction to this, I've done a lot of shows on the Fearlessly Facing 50 podcast about caregiving, about aging parents, about, I don't know if you can remember, it was back episode probably 50 something that I talked about John Michael Knight, who was a child that had a stroke, and how his mom and dad were caring for him. This is just going to be a really powerful conversation. So I want to, without further ado, I'm just going to introduce Anthony Lucero to the show. So I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you for having me. I thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great. And, this actually came about pretty quick. And sometimes when I have, certain things that come up, you reach out and it takes forever to get connected. So I really appreciate you making time for this. We're going to dig right into this film. We're going to dig right into you. And hopefully your wife will maybe make an appearance. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, and she's in sweatpants. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in sweatpants. She'd be my soul sister. She can come on anytime. So just really excited to have you here. Anthony, I'm just going to start with the question that everybody has been asking you, and what has inspired you to write, to produce, to put together this movie called The Paper Bag Plan?
And people, they often walk away and say it feels authentic. It feels as though it's based off real people, and it was inspired by my mom, Elsie, and my brother Eddie. Eddie was cognitively, mentally disabled and physically disabled. So my mom would lift him out of that wheelchair, out of bed every day, up until her late 70s. She was still,
Really?
And yeah, she had these really everybody would comment on her biceps because she had really big biceps. Mom is still with us. She's 93 now. But in her late 70s, she would lift him and take him into the shower. And it was one of those things where my mom was very independent. And, we'd be in the house and they'd be like, hey, Mom, when you're ready to put Eddie to bed, let us know. Hours would go by and be like, well, are you ready? She's like, oh, I already put him to bed. So she would just lift Eddie on her. It just gave her, it was her job, and it gave her pride to do this. Yeah, it really did. And so Eddie passed away about 2013. He was 49 years old, but he lived a long life. I mean, he wasn't supposed to live past 2, and doctors were like, he's not going to live past 4, and he just kept going. And it is 100% due to my mom's love. That is it. It is my mom's love, my mom's care, because she would just talk to him and comb his hair, and he didn't have to wear shoes, but she'd put shoes on him, and she would dress him up. And that was her companion. I lost my father when I was 10. And so after that point, my mom was 100%, his caretaker. So, but it was a lot of love between those two. And It was her companion. Like I said, it was her companion. When he left, when he passed, it broke her. It really did. And, yeah, but that's and let me just say the second half of the inspiration was my sister Margie. She passed away of cancer in 2018. She was
Oh, sorry.
64. Yeah, that was very quick and very unexpected. And she was like my godmother. She was like my second mom. So she passed away unexpectedly of cancer. She left behind her daughter, Sarah, who has Angelman syndrome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Angelman syndrome. It's funny when I mention it, people will come out of the woodwork. I know somebody who has Angelman. It's very
Yeah.
rare. Um, so my niece Sarah, who has Angelman's, she's turning 40, but cognitively she's about a 1 year old. So yeah, my sister left behind Sarah, and so it kind of kickstarted. Well, I will say that I had this idea of an aging parent, an aging caretaker. What happens
Right.
when they pass? Yeah, and they leave behind their child with a disability or somebody that they're caring for. Or, what happens if once they leave this earth? Because we had thought about it. We had thought about it as a family. What's going to happen once my mom passes? Who is then going to be the caretaker of Eddie?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I had this idea. Once my sister passed, I then finished the screenplay. I was like, well, I need to finish this film, and
Wow.
that was the inspiration for it. Yeah.
How long was it in the making? I mean, how long did you have that idea kind of? I mean, you've grown up with this, you've been around this, you've seen this and lived it. I mean,
Yeah, I can't put a number on it, but I would say, maybe 2016, I started penning it. 2017, 2018, my sister passed, and then I finished it 2019. And it was originally a mom and son relationship, of course,
okay.
because it was inspired by these two amazing women in my life.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because my casting director sent it out to, I had sort of handpicked maybe 30 actresses that I thought would fit this part, that I thought were really great actors,
Yeah.
but just hadn't been propelled into a lead feature role. Anyway, long story short, we got denied by all of them. Mostly because of the budget level of the film. We were
Yeah. It's an indie film.
micro budget.
Yep.
It's an indie film, and people
Yeah.
are like, I don't think so. It's
But talk about that for a minute for these listeners and viewers, in indie film, walk us through that because a lot of people don't realize the cost and the time and all of that, an indie versus what's the other? It's either an independent film or
or a studio film.
studio
And,
film.
and those are very loose terms because
Yeah.
independent can mean anything outside of big studios, Warner Brothers, Netflix. But there's hundreds of other studios that still have a lot of money. Our term for independent film, it's also called a micro budget indie film. Micro budget
Micro
is
budget.
something under $300,000. So
Wow.
that's
Okay.
where we fall.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's
and
amazing, actually, that you can put this
it,
level film together, this quality. That's incredible.
it is amazing. And for most people, they don't know budgets of films. A typical budget of a film would be, I don't know, $10 million or so.
Yeah.
For that's low budget. That is low budget. It's $10 million.
Wow.
You can't find an actor for $10 million off an A-list actor.
No, exactly.
Excuse me.
Yep.
So yeah, $300,000 is a lot of money for us because it's
Yeah.
self-funded and mostly funded by my wife. So Kayla, he and I'll just speak to how we came up, like self-financing the film. We had a funder early on. They dropped out because they wanted to be in the film, and I just didn't want to compromise the story. I was so just the story was just very important to me. I was very passionate about Paper Bag Plan, about telling it accurately. And so when I told the financier she could not be in, like I could not write a huge part for her, it would just derail the project. And so
Right.
she pulled out, and then my wife, she could see that I was, I was down. I was down. This was during the pandemic, 2020, and she said, I will finance the film. You
Amazing.
know, get off the couch, stop being depressed.
Amazing.
And yeah, and I wasn't on the couch. We had a kid, we had a newborn in 2020, but she could see like I was just a dad. I was
Right.
a stay-at-home dad, and she's like, you need something else in your life. So she's like, I will fund the film, and she did. Yeah, it's
That's
amazing.
incredible. Oh, I love to hear that. I hope we can meet her. I talk a lot about your passion and your purpose and how they intersect. And I think that's so prevalent in this. Now, hearing the backstory of, how you came about this, it really was your passion. And really, your purpose was getting this message out for people to see.
Yeah, it was. It's because I felt that there weren't very many people that knew this type of you really can't call it a struggle because people love doing it.
Right.
People love being caretakers, or certain people that just love to do that. And some people that it's heartbreaking. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of scheduling and change of life.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
but I didn't know if people knew that story of
Right.
caretaking, of taking care of a child with a disability. So this was sort of me just opening the door to that, to people of that world. And then once I did, now I get hundreds of thousands of people that are reaching out to me that are saying, this is my story, or this is,
Boy.
I, it's really interesting. I did not, I mean, even on my first film, I did a film about sushi. I didn't think
Yeah.
there'd be people that like love sushi and films about sushi or food films. And then this film, I didn't know there'd be so many people, caretakers and people
Right.
with disabilities, that are saying, thank you for showing us in a
Isn't that
positive
incredible?
light. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
So
And that's how you weave together these stories of people. I had mentioned earlier, I had a podcast early on years ago, probably 2020 or 2021. And it was with John Michael Knight, and his mother, Vicky, was on, and he suffers from locked-in syndrome. He had a stroke at 18. And it was incredible because she was so nervous to share her story authentically. And I remember that podcast. I still get goosebumps when I think about it, because I just let her roll with it and tell her story of caregiving for her son now, that, was going to be playing lacrosse at a Division I school the next year. He was a high school senior, star athlete, and this happened. And then all of a sudden she is the caregiver, she and her husband. But she took on the majority of that burden, that role, that whatever that was, just out of love. And I remember one thing she said, that this may resonate with you. She was standing in the hospital room, and she'd been there for days with him with no change. And she finally got a glimpse of herself in kind of the window in the ICU and said, this is ridiculous. I can't show up like this anymore. Like, I got to go home. I got to shower. I got to come back as John Michael's mom, and I got to be that strong person. And that's what she did. And when she she went home, she showered. She said she put on a cute little outfit. She came back. There was no change. He had not made any progress or change at all. But she just said, this is my role, and I have to step up, and I have to be strong, but he's got to know that I love him, and I got to come across as mom, as Vicky, the person that he has always seen in his life. That's a big caregiving role. It's a lot of
right.
weight.
Yeah. And it's like she has to, I mean, I have not been in that situation, but I feel like you have to sort of love yourself and take care of
Yes.
yourself. And then that will be passed on to the person that you're caring for as well. It'll just help both, I
Yeah.
believe. I mean,
Your mom
my
would be,
mom's,
she'd be so
she
proud of you. She'd be so proud of you because,
Oh, I wish you had her on the podcast. She's
yeah,
93. She's sharp as a tack, but she hates the limelight. You know what, Amy? I did a documentary. Maybe you can look at it later. It's on YouTube. Did it 20 years ago,
I
but it
watched
just
it.
shows both of them. Did you see it? Yeah. Angels in wheelchairs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
That's
watched it.
them. That is
Saw it as I
them.
was prepping. Amazing.
It's, yeah, it gets in and out, and but it tells you very quickly about their relationship.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. I'll link that
yeah.
in the show notes so people can watch that. Um,
Okay.
what do you think? Why do you think caregiving changes people so deeply?
I mean, it's your life. It's a time change. You can't go to a movie and,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, it's a lot of work. I mean, look, I take care of my 6-year-old, and that is like a huge shift in my life.
Right.
But he's
Yeah.
able-bodied.
Yeah.
He could put on his shoes but when you have to bathe somebody, especially somebody who's like almost the same size as you, physically, it's very difficult to do. And I've talked to a lot of caregivers who the person they are taking care of is weighs more than them.
Yeah.
And it's like, boy, you really, so you start to think about, I mean, you think about your health.
Right.
And I do. I think about, look, I had my son at a late age
Yeah.
for a dad. So, so I think about myself. I think about my health a lot. I think that it has changed my life, and that I have to eat better and I have to
Yes.
exercise more because I
Yep.
want to be around for my son as long as possible. So I don't know if caregivers do the same. I wonder if they're like, well, I have to extend my life as long as possible. And
Right. Right.
um,
I think
Yeah.
it was such an interesting part. Let's run through the film a little bit because I want to know how you casted the actors.
Yeah.
But Oscar and Billy, really the main ones. Oscar being the dad, and Billy has cerebral palsy, and he has cerebral palsy, autism, and a bit of a. Doesn't he have some sight issues too?
He's visually impaired,
Visually impaired.
yeah, legally blind, and he has scoliosis as well. Yeah, but just an amazing human and just lovely to work with. Cole Massey, who plays
Cole
Billy.
Massey. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see he's
he's
done some interviews too, which is amazing. And Oscar just, I mean, it looked like an actual father and son. I mean, just that,
it,
I thought it was amazing.
well, it's funny on set. This was probably day two. We had them on set, and a production assistant, she came up to us and said, "Did you cast a real father son?" And when she said that, I was like,
That's
"Yes, this
that's
is
gold.
this is going to work."
Yeah,
Yeah, if we're
that's
behind the
gold.
scenes filming this, then it's like, okay, it's working here. And I mean, Lance Kinsey, who plays the dad, he is just phenomenal. He just made my screenplay sing. My gosh, he's. I'll talk about both of these main actors, but first Lance, he he's a comedic actor. He's only done comedy his entire career. He's best known from the Police Academy films as Proctor, and I ran into him on the film festival circuit with my last film. But if you watch his comedy, he had a film called All Stars. The scenes in between the comedy, you could see where he's just a great actor. And I thought, I told Lance when I would meet him on the festival circuit, like, Lance, I would love to work with you someday. And that someday came with this film. And we just had a feeling. My wife and I, my wife was also pushing to cast him. She's like, let's cast Lance. He's great. And it was a big swing for us because he hadn't done drama, but you just kind of know when
Yeah,
somebody is just going to do a great job, and he did, and he just knocks it out of the park. Especially the one line that people always bring up is when he says, "I had prayed that if I were to die, the Lord would take Billy with me, his son." And that's a line that just like it cuts through my heart, and it's the way he delivers it is just so profound. And can I speak about that line for
yes.
a minute, actually?
I
So
love that line. It's in the trailer. I think it's fabulous.
thank you. I love it too, and I didn't write it, and it's the best line in the film. I didn't write it. So we were having lunch with our friend Tina, and Tina, her daughter has Angelman. So I was talking about Angelman's earlier, and so by happenstance, our friend's daughter also has Angelman syndrome.
Wow.
So I had her read my screenplay back in 2020 or so, 2019, before we started filming. So I just wanted her to, I gave it to multiple people. I gave it to caregivers. I gave my screenplay to actors with disabilities, um, the whole gamut, and just to vet it. And so Tina, she's like, I love the screenplay. I love the story. But she told me that line. She said during lunch, she said, I would pray to God that if I died, the Lord would have mercy on me and take her daughter, Nicole, with her. And so I just, oh my God, it was so profound,
Wow.
so heavy, such a heavy line.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, Tina, can I use that? I was like, that's so just. The screenplay said those words. It didn't say them, but it's what it was sort of the I don't know, it was not the purpose of the story, but it was there. I
Yeah.
just hadn't said it out loud, and when she
Right.
said it, I was like, I have to say this out loud. I
Right.
think the character has to say this.
And that's what every parent would say.
Exactly. Yeah, it's they all feel they all and there's another term that now keeps cycling through my Instagram of I pray that I will die 10 minutes after my child, or 10 seconds after my child goes, I hope that I go. So it's just that's heartbreaking, and a
Yeah.
lot of parents they do wish that, pray that.
Right.
But yeah, but going back to Lance, he delivers that line just perfectly. And Cole Massey, who plays Billy. So everything started with Cole. Everything started with the casting of Billy. So if I couldn't find my Billy, because it's
Very specific.
uh, very specific character that I wrote, couldn't find him because first and foremost, we're looking for an actor with a disability, and people think that's so crazy. Like, wow, you really did cast an actor with a disability. It's like, of course. It's like, why would I
Right.
cast an able-bodied person to be in a wheelchair? It's just not my style, I guess. But it's weird that other people would cast a
Yeah. It says a lot.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was first and foremost. We found a casting director who specialized in actors with disabilities. So we reached out to Russell, and he cast a wide net. Couldn't find that actor because, look, I wasn't just going to cast an actor just because they were disabled. I wanted a great actor for this role. So, in roles Cole Massey, and he was like the last. I was going to give up. It's like, well, I don't think we're going to find this person. I'm going to move on to a different story, different screenplay. But Cole Massey came in and via Zoom, and he was like, "Yep, I think he's the one. I think he's perfect." And so, and just like I said, just such a professional, such a pro. And
Yeah.
the thing is, people come up to him at screenings and they say, like, they think he just sort of fell into this role, or that's really him on the screen. It's not really him. It's a character he's playing. He is a professional actor.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But people ask him, have you ever acted before? He's like, yeah, I've been doing it for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fantastic,
He's
fantastic to work with.
fantastic. So let's
Yeah,
talk a little bit about, what Oscar does. He wants to teach life skills. He knows that he's got a diagnosis. I don't want to give away the whole film because it's so good, but that's so important. I think it's such an important piece of it. It's learning life skills and making him feel more independent.
that's huge. And purpose, right? And
Purpose.
purpose comes from, for me, purpose is having a job. And when I've been out of work for a long time, and many of us have been, and I've been there, I was out of work for many years, and you just get down about it. And I like to keep working. I love having a paycheck, and I love having my name
Yep.
on a paycheck. And I'm very working class like that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if other people feel like that, but I do. And I figure my character Billy would feel like that too.
Yes.
He needs purpose. And I know a lot of people with disabilities, they would feel a bit about themselves. A lot of people would if they just could contribute to society in some way. I know that for a fact. And I think this is a side subject, but you get disability checks or unemployment checks, and the amount is so small that you can't live off that. But then if you get a job, those benefits get cut, and then it's this bad cycle. And I'm getting on a tangent, but it comes down to purpose, and I think a lot of
Purpose.
us would feel better if and that's the dad knows that in the film. The dad knows that if Billy has a job, he's just going to feel better about himself. He's
Yeah.
going to have purpose.
Validation. Yeah.
It's validation. It totally is.
Amazing. We talked a little bit before. Jennifer Aniston loved this film. I think that's huge.
She just surprisingly, somebody said Jennifer Aniston repost. I'm like, Jennifer Aniston, like the actress.
Amazing. Yes.
And they said, yeah, and they pointed me to her Instagram. I was like, there it is. She reposted
Yeah.
it for us. So
We want more people to watch this. Where can they stream, for people around the country right now that are saying, hey, I really want to watch this and haven't yet?
It's people often ask, when's it going to be on Netflix? It'll never be on Netflix. It'll just you have to. It's old school. You have to rent it. Just
Yep.
like
Yep.
back in the days, you had to. But it's cheap. We kept it as cheap as possible. It's $1.99 for standard def, $2.99 HD, just to rent. So we kept it. We told them what is the lowest price, and that's the lowest price. So we hope people do rent it, and they're not just going to wait for it to stream for free because it'll never be there. But so yeah, you can find it on Amazon Prime, the usual places,
Yep.
Apple,
Yep.
iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, or it's on our website too, Blue Sun Pictures, bluesunpictures.com. There's a link to
I'll
all
put
of
that
them.
in the notes too. When you actually watched this for the first time and it ended, and I'm sure you were sitting there with your wife, what did you say? I mean, what was that? Just take me to that moment.
When the film ends?
Yes. When you
When
saw
the
it for the first time.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh my God. But it's funny because that feeling, it still happens. Because it just came out on streaming last week. We watched the ending, and every time it gets us.
Does
So
it?
it's
Yeah.
weird. It does. It gets us every time.
Yeah.
And I'm the biggest critic of my work, and I could always just sit there with my arms crossed and be like, oh, that could be so much better. And I do that with this film too. I do that with all my works. Like, it could be better. But this one,
We are
somehow
our
I'm
worst
able
critics.
to. We are, and but I am able to propel myself into an audience member and watch it, and it's just like, it just chokes me up every time. It really
Yeah.
does. And the very there's an end sequence in the credits which people are missing, because at the end of whenever you're watching something, it just, when the credits come up, it's like next
Right.
film, and it just I was like, my God. But there's a whole scene at the end that my wife cut, and it's a beautiful scene, and it's fun, and people should watch it. But yeah, my wife was also the co-editor on the film as well, so
So you
we were
work
both a
together on
team on
this.
this. Yeah.
Amazing. Let's talk about writing a screenplay for a little bit, because I know a lot of people listening right now, a lot of people get stuck, whether it's a woman or a man that's trying to write something or trying to step into something. They have this creative energy, they have a story to share. Walk me through that process. How do you get started? I mean, with writing something like this, is it like writing a book, or is it completely different?
It just for me, it has to be a story that I want to tell. A lot of writers, they'll think of something like, well, what's popular? Horror is popular. Or how about
Right.
this? And they go with trends. I could never. I'm not a trend follower. I just follow my heart. Always, 100% is what I do, and that is it's the story. It's always the stories that I don't see up on the screen. This film, my last film, they're stories I've never seen before, and I feel like it's like, well, I got to fill that void, this gap. So if it has to call to me. It has, like, this paper bag plan. It sits there and it cycles through my head over and over and over. At a certain point, I have to get it on paper.
Yep.
And so but it just sort of, it fills your mind. It's when you're taking the shower and all that. And it doesn't, for me, it's not very difficult, because I'm not trying to figure out what the story is. I'm not trying to chase trends, right? It's just,
Right.
it comes naturally to me, in chunks, and then you got to fill in the chunks, of course. And part of it, I'll just tell you that how I write is, once I have it all in my head, then I have to get away. I think writing, yeah, well, for me, writing, I have to be isolated.
Yeah.
I have to be in a quiet space where I'm not gonna, if I'm at home, I'm gonna do the laundry. I'm gonna go fix
Yes.
whatever outside in the garden, and so it's important to get away, at least, and it's hard. People that are parents, or it's like, well, how am I gonna escape? I can't do that.
Right.
You
Right.
just you have to do whatever you have to do to make it work. But my wife is incredibly supportive. She's like, go away for 3 nights
She
in a
knows you need it.
hotel.
Yeah.
She
That's a
knows.
team.
Yeah, it is. It's, yeah,
That's a
but
team.
that's how it works for me. For me,
And
excuse me.
take me to a moment when, we all have those moments when you wake up and you just want to put the covers back over the head and just say, Day, this is just too much. This is just too heavy. Did you have a moment or moments like that? Or can you just take me to one where you thought, can I really write this? Is this really something I can do? Do you think this is going to resonate with people? Did you ever have that moment where you were really stuck in fear and you had to push through?
Yeah, all the way to the end. I
All
felt
the way to the end.
like,
Yeah.
all the way to the end, until I put the music on and did the final edits. I knew, again, going back to, I am my worst critic, and I am. I could just look at my work and just be like, gosh, it could be so much better. But with Paper Bag Plan, it was an idea I loved, the film that I loved. I just didn't think anybody was going to resonate with this. Like, is it going to touch anybody? And it has, and it's been really heavy for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I think it's held a mirror up for a lot of people, in terms of, what am I going to? Some people are like, what is going to be my paper bag plan? Like, what am I going to do for my child, and what am I going to,
Yeah.
once I'm off this earth? So it has brought up a lot of those questions, but yeah, I look, my confidence level goes from day, today I'm like, I am an amazing director, writer, and then
Yeah.
20 minutes later, it's like,
Yeah.
my God, I'm a failure. I am just the
Yeah.
worst imposter.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's funny, because I think a lot of us do that, and I just go in these waves, and it's good, because I think if I were to be on that hill of, like, I'm amazing, I'm just fantastic director. You're going to make crap. You're just
Yes,
going to, your
exactly.
stuff is going to be horrible.
Exactly.
So luckily I have these waves up and down all
Yep.
day, every
Yep.
day.
I think that's
Yeah.
okay. I think that's very normal. And I think that's me too. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you see next? Like you're working on something else already, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're working on, probably three different films. None of them are in production yet, so I'm still in the writing phase. East Side Sushi, it's funny, that was my last film, East Side Sushi. Somebody posted a clip of it on YouTube, and it had 41 million views on this
Oh
little
my
clip. And
gosh.
so,
What?
yeah, and that was recently. And I thought, well, the film is still, I've always wanted to do East Side Sushi 2 and 3. It was just
Okay.
sort of this package idea.
Yeah.
I've never been able to like find a funder for it. So
Very
anyways, if there's
interesting.
anybody with a lot of money out there, yeah,
I
come
was
hit
going to
me up.
say,
And
anybody watching, listening, how can we support you? Yeah, as an indie film maker, writer, screenwriter, all of that, you and your wife, how can we get the word out about this
it
film,
is
about these actors?
it's easy. It just post. I mean, that's how we get our information. Social media. Thank you, Amy, for posting and about the film. And that is it. That is because we can't afford to put a billboard up.
Right, right.
We can't
Yeah,
afford to run ads on TV. We just can't afford to do that. So we rely on word of mouth and the awesomeness of people. And
yeah.
just put it out there and just tag us and follow us and do a review of the film. Reviews of the films help and
Has your mom
all
seen
that.
this? Has your mom watched the film?
She loves it. Yeah, she loves it.
Okay.
So she's I have to make her a DVD of it though because she has no way of watching. She has no
Oh,
streaming. She has no computer,
yeah,
so I
like
have
a
to make a
DVD.
DVD of it. Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
she loves it. The first line in the film of "1, 2, 3, Jesus be with me." That's what she would say every day when she'd pick up Eddie, my brother. She would say "1, 2, 3, Jesus be." She'd pick him up, and so when that line comes up right in the beginning of the film, she just started crying. She's like,
Oh
"Oh my
yeah,
god!" She's like that. It was just so funny because she said, "That's what I say." I'm like, "Ma, that's just because you say I put that in the film. I know that's like it's what
yeah.
you say."
You
So
are just such a kind, you can just tell the kindness just oozes out of you. It's amazing. I mean, you just do
well, thank
amazing,
you.
amazing work. If we were to sit down and talk to friends of yours, like back in high school or middle school, would they be looking at you and saying, that's exactly what Anthony would be doing? You had a heart like that back then. Would they be saying that?
Yeah, I think so. I have a lot of support, even from high school. I still have all of
Wow.
my, and I just love it. As soon as I post something stupid, whatever, I just have a lot of people that just show me love and just
Amazing.
and I do. I have a lot of good fortune from friends and family, so that
That's
support
great.
me. So it's great.
Well,
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think it's amazing. Well, I'll post everything about the episode. I mean, in the episode notes about the movie, about you. And I want to ask you one last question. And this one always gets people thinking. So if you were sitting on the couch and you look over and there's Anthony at 20, what advice would you give him?
I would. I, what advice would I give 'em? Go find a job that makes good money because then you can make your passion films and then you can yeah. I think I don't know. I chased the art for so many years and art doesn't pay well. I think I would probably go work in Google and get some big stock options and then go make my passion, go make my art and
And then
and
go
and do
to,
that.
yeah,
That's
amazing.
really bad. That's really like stupid advice, but it's semi true. It really
Yeah.
is. Like
Yeah.
just work hard. But I've always worked hard. I've never stopped working hard. So I couldn't tell myself to work hard because I've always done that. But
Well, you've seen that with your mom.
um,
She worked hard her whole life, and it's
worked hard her
continuing.
whole
But I
life.
mean, when you live in that environment and you live through that and see that, that's a real tribute to her.
Yeah, and she manages the high school that I went to. She was the snack bar manager, and that's what she
Oh,
did. And she did it so that she could put us through. It was Catholic school, and that's how she could afford to do it. And she worked hard her whole life. She had my brother taking care of him, and there were 7 siblings, and yeah, it stemmed from her. She worked hard her whole life and
amazing.
instilled it in me. Yeah,
Amazing. Well, cheers to your wife as well. I'm sorry we didn't get to meet her, but
she's amazing.
it's cool that you're working as a husband-wife team and put this amazing film out there for people to see. And I'm proud of you, and I'm thankful that we were able to connect.
Thank you. I could not have done it without her. So, thank you so much.
Amazing. All right, I'll put everything in the episode notes, and thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me today on The Right Size Life. If this episode resonated with you, I hope you'll share it with someone who may need a little encouragement, clarity, or inspiration in this season of life. And don't forget to subscribe. You know, The Right Size Life was originally Fearlessly Facing 50, and now we've rebranded to The Right Size Life. So make sure you're following it on anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's on all the platforms. And you can find me at fearlesslyfacing50.com, F-I-F-T-Y. Remember, 50 is always spelled out. On Instagram, I'm theamy.schmidt. And on Facebook at Fearlessly Facing 50. And I would love for you to get on the waiting list for my book, which will be launching soon. So if you'd like to be on the list and the first to know when it launches, you can go ahead and simply email me, Amy at fearlesslyfacing50.com, F-I-F-T-Y.com, and put the word list, L-I-S-T, in the subject line, and I will add you to the waiting list. And remember, sometimes the next chapter begins with letting go. I'll see you next time on The Right Size Life. Have a great and blessed week.